Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2019 Corolla, and this particular one is a hatchback. The Corolla was recently redesigned for the 2019 model year, and they've added this really cool hatchback variant. But as always, we'll do a quick walk around the vehicle, go over the key features, and then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. If you're stopping in for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. And then a huge shout out and thank you to Larry Schmiller, Toyota here in Murray. If you are in the market for new Toyota, definitely check these guys out. They actually have that little bay open for me because it keeps raining on and off if I need to take the car inside to keep filming. So under the hood here of the 2019 Corolla, we have a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder, and there actually are two transmission options. There is a 6-speed manual and then a CVT automatic. This particular one has a CVT automatic. There is a little bit of a power difference between the two motors. So for example, if you go for the manual transmission, you'll get 140 horsepower and 128 pound-feet of torque. If you go for the CVT, it drops down to 132 horsepower and 126 pound-feet of torque. And then in terms of fuel economy, 30 around town and 40 on the highway. So wrapping things up on the Corolla hatchback here up front, we actually have these cool LED lights. So for the accent lights, it is projector bulbs up front. There are little fog lights down below, and they've kind of done this all blacked out look with the grille. You can see the little Toyota logo, which doubles as the adaptive cruise control. Glad that they added that because it looks a lot cleaner, but I kind of like the overall light design. It kind of has these two little side lights that come off. I don't know if those are coming through on the camera very well, but it has a really cool design on it, and I like this new kind of look they've done on the hood. So with the body line there, it just makes it look a little bit more aggressive. So around the side here, we have 225mm tires on 18-inch machine finished rims. They have a really cool design on them, and then I like that cool little kind of side chrome piece that they do on the body, and then just that last like little body line down there. It looks really, really neat, and here's kind of like the side little profile you can see on the Corolla hatchback. Here's the key fob for the Corolla hatchback. It says Corolla on the back. I'm glad that Toyota actually gives you the model name for each of the vehicles, but you've got the Toyota logo, and then it just has regular lock and unlock function with the vehicle. We have unlocked the Corolla. Before we pop inside, I actually want to go over the design. I like the look of this hatchback. It definitely kind of reminds me of the older style Mazda 3s, which a lot of people miss and love, so I'm glad that they kind of went for that look. But they've got these new LED tail lamps, which look really, really good. And then you've got your Toyota logo front and center. It says Corolla, and then it says the actual trim package, which is the XSE. And then something that might trigger a few of you, it does have a fake dual exhaust. So those aren't the exhaust. There's like a singular exhaust tip just under the car. It's kind of hard to see, but there's just one exhaust tip under there. Those are just little fake for show pieces. Now the actual latch for the hatchback is just right there. It is just a regular hydraulic hatchback. Now opening it up here, we can see we've got some rubber floor mats. There's a little cargo cover here so you can cover your stuff. And if we actually go under the floor mat, you just have to pull that little lever. We can see that there's a full-sized spare under there as well, but it's actually a decent amount of cargo space for this being like basically more like a compact car. Now stepping around to the side here, we can look at the door panel in the back. We've got nice white contrasted stitching. There is a leather bolster right there with this black trim. Little switch there, there is a cup holder, and then we can see the little door handle. And coming actually into the interior, I really like the design of these seats. So they've got this little cloth insert. It is leather bolsters around that though, with more of that white stitching, but it has a really cool design to the seat. And then you see there's some rubber floor mats, and there's a little storage space down there, and we can pull this little thing out to see that there are some cup holders. In terms of legroom, this is going to be a little bit tighter, but I mean, it is a compact car, and so it's not bad for the segment. So coming around to the side, we've got keyless entry, just one touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, you just have to put your hand on the back of the door handle. There's a little sensor there, and we can see the door panel for the front. Again, more of that leather with the contrasted stitching. It actually looks really nice. The leather feels pretty premium in here. More of your window controls right here, mirror controls, and then you've got the little door handle. Have the speaker system right there, and if we pop over to the seat here, we can see we have all of our controls for the power adjustments. It does have lumbar, and these front seats have that same cloth insert in them, so right here. And I'm loving these new seats that Toyota's doing. The bolsters on them look really cool. They've got more of that white contrasted stitching and then stitching in the center. But these seats are actually pretty wide, so they're comfortable to sit in. And finally, before we actually step inside of the Corolla, we can see the pedal layout down there. And then we have our control for the headlight right there. It is a little adjustment on the steering wheel. Let's actually step into the Corolla here, and step and height's actually really good. It's a little bit lower to the ground, but to start up the 2019 Corolla, put your foot on the brake, push the push start button and the Corolla will start right up. Gauges will do a sweep. It says Corolla. It does a cool little graphic right there. Now looking at the steering wheel here, we have all of our controls for the safety tech. And again, I'm going to keep mentioning this with the Toyotas. They have so much safety tech in these vehicles. It's just incredible. So we have all of our controls for the adaptive cruise control right there. We have our controls for the lane departure assistance. You do get the forward collision, rear cross, traffic alert. You guys are gonna notice I'm gonna struggle to say that all the time, but there is blind spot monitoring. You can see that on the mirror right there. But this is for your radio, and then that's your mode selection for the radio. Those are for the center screen. We'll go over that momentarily. We have our phone controls. That's your back button, and then you have your volume controls with your voice command. And the steering wheel is really nice. It has leather all around it, and then the Toyota logos front and center. Now looking at this little center gauge cluster, on the left-hand side we have the RPMs, on the right-hand side we have the fuel and then the temperature gauge, and then there's that little center screen I was telling you guys about earlier that gives you a bunch of different little bits of information on the car that you can go through. You can see all the menus that I am scrolling through. Let's go back there so you can see all the different bits of safety tech that you can turn on or off with the vehicle as well, but it's nice that they give you that configurable center screen. Now this is Toyota's kind of new infotainment system, and they have the analog buttons on the side of the screen right here, and then it is also functions as a touchscreen. This is where you can do your calling, texting, Bluetooth, all of that through here, your radio. Everything is going to be in this touchscreen, but I'm just glad that they have that little setup where you can do both, because sometimes I hate having to go through a touchscreen to get to stuff, but it's nice that I can just press map, for example, and it would let me, you know, go to the navigation, or I can press menu and it goes straight to the menu, all of that. Finishing things up in the touchscreen area, if we put the Corolla into reverse, it does have a backup camera with little trajectory lines to help you back up and make that a little bit easier. And then that's kind of like the little red line showing you that you're a little bit too close to something. Now just down below here we have our climate controls right here. It is a dual zone climate, and I'm glad that they keep the climate controls separate from the touchscreen, so I don't have to go through a touchscreen menu to get to climate controls. You can see all the different modes right here. And then just down below that we have our controls. Oh, sorry, the camera's not picking that up, but controls for the heated seats right here. And they have this nice stitching all around this little center console area. Now this is the shifter for that CVT automatic transmission. There is a manual shift mode as well if you want to shift the gears, and they actually give you little paddles on the back of the steering wheel if you are in that manual mode to shift the gears yourself. There's a sport mode, and if you press that it makes the screen red, so you just have sport and normal. Just funny that it goes red to be a little bit more aggressive because you're in sport mode. You got your traction control button just right over there, your parking brake, and then your auto hold, and then there's a little cup holder here. And finally there's this center console, so you got some contrasted stitching. It is leather bolstered, and then you can slide it back and forth basically, so if you want the armrest in a different place. But there is storage under here with a couple little charging stations. Speaking of storage, we can actually open this up, so you've got your regular glove box, and just above the glove box, let's kind of talk about the dash. They've got this nice stitching that goes throughout. It is soft touch on the dash, which more stitching up top, and then they give you this little screen. That's just for the passenger airbag light. It's kind of hard to see that, but they give you kind of like this little black paneling that goes over. But I like the design on the dash. It's actually really clean, and with the touchscreen it just kind of has this little modern design to it. Now to wrap things up on the Corolla interior, it's actually a really nice interior, especially for this segment. You don't expect much from vehicles in this segment because it's supposed to be more of like a cost-effective segment, so manufacturers will kind of cheap out on stuff, and I'm glad that Toyota hasn't done that. But that all being said, let's take the 2019 Corolla Hatchback out to see how it drives. We are starting off here in the 2019 Corolla, and Utah's weather is bipolar as usual. It was just pouring rain, and now it's extremely sunny, so hopefully it stays sunny for this drive portion. Setting off in the Corolla, it definitely feels like kind of like a smaller, zippier sized car. Just getting an initial acceleration on the car. It actually accelerates pretty well. Ride quality is super smooth on the car as well. I wasn't expecting that. Usually these smaller sized cars ride a little bit rougher, but this one's actually doing really well. Visibility throughout the Corolla Hatchback is actually really good. The only thing that I am noticing visibility wise is just like that very far area, and there's no like small window to make up for it. But other than that, the visibility in this car is great. And on top of that visibility, there is the blind spot monitoring system, which, I mean, it's just a win-win there, so there's really nothing to worry about. Steering on this car is actually really light and effortless, but it's pretty direct. It goes right where you want it to go, but you don't have to put any sort of really effort into the steering. Now, in terms of road noise on the Corolla hatchback, there's not a whole lot of noise coming into the cabin. Along with that smooth ride quality, those kind of two go hand in hand. Usually if something rides pretty smooth, there's usually not as much road noise onto the car. Get a little bit of an acceleration here. Oh, going through a puddle. But let's get a little acceleration here with the Corolla hatchback. It's actually quicker than I thought. That's a little bit crazy. So just like, you know, reading the horsepower figures, I wasn't expecting this to be that quick, but they definitely deliver the power really well on this vehicle. Now, what I would say overall on the 2019 Corolla hatchback is, first and foremost, the reason I actually did the hatchback is I've noticed that a lot of people love these hatchbacks. The added utility of having a little bit higher cargo space in the rear is definitely a must-have for a lot of people. Oh, another puddle there. But that being said, you know, kind of like, you know, there's like the Mazda 3 in this segment, and there's a Subaru Impreza. I really like the design on this one. It kind of takes a lot of the design cues and hatchbacks that I really, really like. And then along with Toyota reliability and resale value, this is definitely a solid choice. So if you're in that kind of like hatchback market, you have to check out one of these Corollas. It gives super good fuel economy, really smooth ride quality. The new looks on it are super sweet. And if you get this like in a crazy color like blue or something, it's definitely a neat car to have. But definitely check out one of these new Corollas. And there we have it, everyone, the 2019 Toyota Corolla. Thank you everyone so much for watching. And then again, a big shout out and thank you to Larry H. Miller Toyota here in Murray. These guys have been super awesome helping us out get some more reviews going. But if you are stopping for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, comment down below what you thought, and then I will see all of you in that next video.